Salam alaikum, alaikum salam. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Would you be mine? Would you be mine? I'm fine, you're fine, we're fine, and how are you? Do you guys remember Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? I feel like taking off my jacket now, you know, and my shoes, if you guys remember. Great show, great show. It used to teach a lot to the children. It taught a lot of stuff, interesting things in that show. But I'm not here for that this morning. Good morning, guys, good morning. I'm here to speak about a question that was asked on one of my videos that I posted a little bit back. There are none of the ones that I recently posted. It's one of the older ones. And the question was, is there racism in Palo? And the short answer to that is, in some Munansos, there is racism. Is it supposed to be that way? No, it's not supposed to be that way. But unfortunately, in some, not all, this exists, racism. Just like racism exists throughout the world. Is it the tatas or yayas or the godchildren? Sometimes it's both. Sometimes it's the elder, whether male or female. Sometimes it's the godchildren. And why I say that? I say because you can have a tata that's not racist, but he might have a couple of godchildren that are racist. They just haven't showed it to him until, or don't show it at all, but they'll show it to the next person in a way that is not pleasing to them. You understand that? They understand as being, oh, this person doesn't like me. What's the reason? And then kind of figures out, oh, they don't like me because either I'm Hispanic, or I'm white, Caucasian, or I'm black. I'm from a darker hue. And it's actually nonsensical and stupid, because Palo, the way it was formed in Cuba, the motherland to it, different people with different hues practice in Kisimalongo, because it's not a totally full African tradition. Mestizos like myself, of mixed bloods, are predominantly people that practice this tradition. So if a Caucasian person comes in, a white person comes in, who am I to say that they're not allowed in the Munanso? If the Nganga says de cuenta arriba Nganga, and the godfather or godmother accepts them, that's it. I'm nobody to say then they shouldn't be in that Munanso, or not here, or not there. Who am I? Especially me, being of a mixed people. I use myself as an example. I'm a mestizo. I have European, Portuguese blood, African, Taino, Congo. I have even Nigerian. I have Cameroon. You know, my DNA, this what shows up. And some other places, other nations of people. But just like everybody in every part of this world, there is racism. That's something that has been very hard to overcome. Unfortunately, let me close these windows. I'm under the L. Unfortunately, it's very hard to overcome. I'm going to tell you guys that in the island where I was born, Puerto Rico, even though it's considered a U.S. territory, I don't know now because I don't see it, but back then, like my great-great-grandmom days, my great-great-grandmother's days, there were racism. And before her also. And we're speaking about the people from Puerto Rico. People of a lighter complexion like myself, or more lighter than me, being racist or having a racism towards the darker people. They have a darker hue color, whatever shade of brown they may be, a darker hue. There's racism always been, and vice versa. People of darker hue, racism against the lighter skinned Puerto Ricans, whether male or females. This, even in my island, this was like this. Meaning, I couldn't bring a dark-skinned girlfriend to my house because my family would not accept her. Not myself. I'm only using myself as an example, but not my family. But back then, and vice versa, a darker complexion man or female could not bring a female or male of a lighter complexion to the house. Why? Because the people of a darker hue color, of the darker hue, understood that they were brought in by slavery. And they looked at the lighter hue Puerto Ricans as the slave masters, sons of the slave masters. You understand? Were the mixed. But what they failed to understand, for my understanding, is that before they brought the Africans to Puerto Rico, the island was already being enslaved by the European, the Spaniards especially, and Portuguese, but more predominant the Spaniard first. But there were Portuguese also that came. And they subdued and put the Tainos into slavery. They took some to Spain and they put the rest in slavery, and they raped and killed and did all the horrible things that has happened with the African people that were brought here also into slavery. So before the Africans came, my descendants, my ancestors were in slavery. Then when our people started being killed off, dying off, almost to the brinks of extermination, almost, then they started bringing the Africans into my country. And there is where we got the mixture of the African, the Taino Indian, and the Spaniard. And if you want to look at it, that's what makes me a mestizo. Because through generations of marrying and all these people being intermingled and mixed, Africans with Tainos, or Tainas with Africans, and then Spaniards with Africans, or Spaniards with Tainos, and all this mixture of children being born, and then them marrying is what made us who we are these days. So we come from a mixture of different nations. But we are born, myself, I'm born in Puerto Rico. So racism is something that has hurt everyone. And there are, yes, some people that think of themselves more, how can I say, more inferior to others. But there are also some Puerto Ricans they look at other Puerto Ricans as inferior than them. That's a form of racism. Between our own people, we still have some of this also. So, you know, it's hard to speak about racism without including yourself and your nationality or your nation of people. But when you include yourself and your people and you look at it from your side, for what you have seen with your own people, you will understand that racism, it's all over. All nations have some type of racism, whether it is because of the color of your skin or whether it is because of the status that you may have, and so on and so on. But in all true reality, and in Kisimalongo, once the Nganga accepts you and your padrino or madrina accepts you, that's it. That's all she wrote. And you get initiated, you my brother and you my sister. Whatever color, whatever nationality, whatever you call yourself, you my brother, you my sister. People tend to forget that in Palo, when you get initiated, there's a point in time when you stop being Andy. Some houses do this as soon as your initiation is almost over. This is one procedure that they do. They ask you, what's your name? Some houses do this. In all true reality, your name changes. You're not Andy no more. And this is what some people have to understand. But as far as these topics are very hard topics to speak about, because people get hurt by the words you say, and I'm not here to hurt anyone. I understand the African American history, the slavery. I have read a lot of books on it. I actually got a couple of great books on the slaves, and you know, so I believe me, I know. But I also understand that my people were also in slavery, and my people, the babies were getting killed, and my people, the women were getting raped, and the elders were getting killed, and the information that they had was being destroyed for we could lose ourselves also. And it happened to, if not all, the most of the nations had some type of conqueror or slavery. Most of all the nations, if not all, went through some type of slavery. But just to make it short, not to stay here lingering, it's not supposed to be that way. I hope and pray that you find a Munanso that's not like that. And that's all I can say, guys. Salam alaikum, alaikum salam, que sambilo akutare. Today, tomorrow, and always, be safe, keep your head up, and let's keep on pushing forward. Let's have brotherly love for one another. Peace.